years with that type of views.
Governor, can you speak to the recent resolution passed by the city of Doral, where it calls for a cease of hostilities in occupied territories? The bill was penned by a pro-Palestinian activist that Mayor Fraga asked to write the resolution. What's your take on that? What kind of message does it send to the rest of the state, considering it's the first city of its kind to pass such a resolution?
I think it's a total fraud. And the fact that they're doing that here in South Florida is a joke. The people of Florida as a whole, but certainly the people of South Florida, they stand with the state of Israel. Israel was the one that was attacked. Now, we went to the University of Florida in Gainesville last week, and we did a press conference where they tried to set up an encampment. That attempt lasted about 5 minutes, and then they were escorted off. But, you know, we're there, and it's interesting because we don't let the inmates run the asylum. We don't let you disrupt university operations. We don't let you take over property, but yet, and so none of that is First Amendment activity. And so will some people say, well, you're cracking down on people's right to protest? No, you can protest, but you can't act in ways that violate basic code of conduct. And in fact, during our press conference, we are there doing a press conference. It's me. I've got the board of trustees from the university, the president of the university. I've got other people. And I've got all these guys out there screaming from the river to the sea. So obviously they have a right to do that. I mean, I think the more they open their mouth, I think they look like a horse's patoot with what they're saying, but that's fine. That's fine. You know, my view is very simple, like with some of these people. You know, better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And when they're saying this stuff, when they're saying things like from the river to the sea, you know, that's just not some cheeky chant. They're basically saying they want to see the destruction of the state of Israel and a second Holocaust. That's what Hamas wants. That's why Hamas baked babies in ovens. That's why they were raping the mothers. That's why they were beheading elderly people on October 7th. You know, it's interesting. I didn't see those folks protesting Hamas's actions. They were very quiet about Hamas's actions. Now they're just doing, and they're protesting this. But I'd also say people should learn their history. The fact of the matter is, there's never been a country or state called Palestine. Jews have the longest connection to that territory. It goes back to biblical times, thousands and thousands of years. They were displaced by hostile forces over the years, but just in the immediate history, until World War I, that was hundreds of years of rule by the Ottoman Empire, by Turks. That was not a Palestinian state. And then the Brits took it over after World War I. They had the mandate for Palestine. And the vision was to have a Jewish state and an Arab state. And in the UN, after World War II, adopted Jewish state, Arab state. Jews accepted it, founded modern Israel. The Arabs rejected it and went to war against Israel, a war that they lost. They also lost a war to annihilate Israel in 67, 73, and they've had all these intifadas ever since then. So how is it somehow that you're occupying when you have the best connection to the land, you accepted a partition plan, and then had to win defensive wars just to be able to keep your people alive? So I think a lot of this is not rooted in facts. It's not rooted in history. And look, we took a big delegation over to Israel my first year as governor. I've had an opportunity to go many years, really over the last decade. I've been many times. And you know, we look about the U.S., I mean, we are a speck in history compared to that history there. You go back there, you've got thousands of years, many thousands of years of history. You can open up a Bible, you can walk in these areas and see what they wrote, what was written down. All the things that are so important that really form the foundation of Western civilization is right there. And I can tell you this, if you go to the old city of Jerusalem and you're somebody like me that goes to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre or some of the other Christian sites, you're able to go, you're able to practice freely. I can tell you, if Palestinian Arabs controlled that, you would not be able to do that. In fact, Bethlehem is in a Palestinian Arab-controlled area, and you go to the church where they have it to commemorate the birth of Christ, and it's a nice church, but you walk out and there's this massive mosque that they built like to overhang it, and there's trash everywhere, and it's just not nice. So I just wish people would be honest about the history here, be honest about the right to defend yourself. Can you imagine if something happened to the United States where some hostile force was baking our babies in ovens and doing this? I mean, we would never stand for it in a second, and yet Israel's the one country that somehow they're just expected to have to accept this without doing all they can to defend their people. So I think a lot of what's going on has just been a farce. I don't think a lot of these people really understand what they're doing. I think some of this is just more trendy in terms of that. And I would also say on these college campuses, a lot of the worst agitators are not even students of these places. They are being funded to go in and to cause chaos. And, look, you have a right to say dumb things. You have a right to believe in dumb things, but you don't have a right to cause chaos in our communities. And I think Florida's drawn that line very appropriately.
Yes.